so much. Congratulations, Meghna ji. Congratulations, Gulzar sir. Rakesh ji, over to you. Thank you.
Lights on the audience. Light पे कौन है? Audience को थोड़ी सी light दीजिए। शुक्रिया। ये ऊपर का डिम कर दीजिए थोड़ा सा। Thank you. Thank you. That's right.
Thank you everybody for coming here and sharing this moment with me. Very few get the privilege or the opportunity to experience a full life once. Fewer get to do it twice. I had the opportunity to experience his full life, not once but twice.
Thank you.
During the second edition of this book. And the experience has been extremely insightful and gratifying for me because I got to know him and understand him better as a person, as a father, as a creative soul. And I really hope that you all get the same as I did. You've actually stolen my lines that I wanted to say, which was my poem, which has appeared in the audiovisual, so now I will let that go. Yeah, it's the only poem of mine which has ever been published. It's in the book. And yeah.
I think we all love books, and that's why we work in publishing, and there are very few moments amongst the thousands of books we publish, the thousands of stories we read, the thousands of lives we read about, that you get the honor and privilege of seeing in such close quarters a life like Gulzar Sahab's. And it would be embarrassing if I say more, but every time we go to his house or we discuss, it's the library that he sits around itself is like a mecca for somebody who loves books, right? And then every page, every word, every photograph, you know that there is only passion for words and literature. The book is just an end product in that sense. This is a distill of the lives that both of them have led. I'm really privileged to be part of that journey. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ananchi, and thanks to HarperCollins to take it up like this, and Anand's personal interest into it. The way he was looking after it and was also following it up and pursuing me. Actually, he was to pursue the author. The author was making a film at that time, and till she got a little more time, and then she got back into it and did her work in her time. And thanks, Rakesh, to you, since you know you're of my daughter's generation, making films. I'm an old timer now. So it's not that I have to lead the way. I have to look at this generation to lead me, and that is their responsibility. So थोड़ी सी मेरी जिम्मेवारी उससे कम हो जाती। माफ कीजिए, मैं हिंदी में बीच में बोल दूंगा क्योंकि वो आसानी हो जाती। सारी पूरी बात अंग्रेजी में कहना मुश्किल होता है। और बहुत कम मौके होते हैं, बहुत कम मौके मिलते हैं कि किताब खुद पर्सोनिफाइड बैठ के अपने ऑथर के पास और उसे देखे। It's up to the author to read me, to narrate me, and to expose me. So this is what has happened in the book, I'm the subject. लेकिन ये कि उम्मीद थी कि थोड़ी नरमी बरतेंगी मेरी जो बेटियां हैं, जो ऑथर हैं, और कहीं कुछ मेरी कमजोरियां भी छुपा लेंगी, कुछ पहलू नहीं जिक्र करेंगी। लेकिन जिस ईमानदारी से लिखी है, मुझे उस ईमानदारी के सामने इज्जत के साथ मानना होता है, and I give her respect for that, and that's what I have mentioned here. I respect her for that honesty. मैंने कोशिश की है कि जब वो सवाल पूछती थी तो मैंने कोई चीज छुपाने की कोशिश नहीं की, लेकिन ये कि अपना लहजा कभी नरम कर लिया, कभी ऊंचा कर लिया, कभी आंख मिला के बात कर ली, कभी आंख झुका के बात कर ली, लेकिन छुपाया कुछ नहीं कभी भी। वो ईमानदारी, because she could get it out of me, because I knew she's too honest, and आसानी नहीं है उस बात को फेस करना। ईमानदारी अपने आप सब कहलवाती है, और कहलवाना भी क्या था, मुझसे पूछना कम था, उन्हें कहना ज्यादा था। कि पूरी किताब में मुझे वो पर्सपेक्टिव अच्छा लगा कि मैं जब से देख रही हूँ ऐसा कुछ हुआ है। ये नहीं कि मेरा माजी क्या था, मैं कहाँ से आया और कहाँ पैदा हुआ और कहाँ, लेकिन मुझे मेघना जी की ये अप्रोच और ये नजरिया बहुत अच्छा लगा। जैसे हम लाड से बोस्की ही कहते हैं, बट ऑथर की तरह से मुझे ख्याल है एक दो बार बीच में मेघना जी कह दूं तो बेहतर है, ऑथर को इज्जत देनी चाहिए, है ना।
But it took me a while to get used to that. ये क्या हो गया?
नहीं, थोड़ी वो इज्जत ऑथर की मैं दे लूँ, उसके बाद फिर आ जाऊंगा उस औकात पे, हम दोनों आ जाएंगे। लेकिन ये कि मैंने कैसे देखा है इन्हें, और मेरे साथ क्या क्या करते रहे, और या मैं क्या क्या देखती रही हूँ बहुत ईमानदारी से। और मैं इसमें पता नहीं कहीं जिक्र है शायद या नहीं, बात हुई थी एक बार कि अब ये स्कूल में थी, और स्कूल में आपस में इनके बहुत सी जरूरियात होती हैं, बहुत सी ख्वाहिशात होती हैं, बहुत से दोस्तों के साथ मिले हुए, तो इन्होंने मुझसे पैसे मांगे और मैं इन्हें ना नहीं करना चाहता था, और ना कह दूँ तो मैं मुड़ के चला गया आपसे। एंड आई फाइंड अ नोट ऑन माई टेबल, my father is cunning, I ask for money and he is running. So I think we carried that kind of honesty between us. Yeah, and she knew how to put it, and she knew the weak points. कहाँ से क्या बात कहलवाने के अलावा अगर पैसे निकलवा सकते हैं तो बात तो कहलवा ही लेते हैं। That's how it is. And मैं इसमें से निकल जाऊं, और it should be between the author and राकेश जी, मुझे गवाह के तौर पे जरूरत पड़े तो बुला लीजिए।
I have a feeling that I'm going to be very uncomfortable with your questions. There is another poem of mine which is much nicer, which you can start with.
We'll come to that also. So whenever me and Bosky, whenever we meet, there's a twinkle in our eyes, both eyes, and he's the twinkle. So,
Absolutely, he's the common reason.
so I'll elaborate on what Gulzar bhai was saying. So he says, I was going in for a bath one day when she asked me for money, which I refused her. Kanjus the shuru se hi, so he refused. I came out of my bath and there was a letter on my table, properly signed by her. I have a father who gives me money. I hate him, not rather. He loves me as honey. I love my father too. He polishes my shoes. shoot. He's sometimes sweet, sometimes funny, but today I want money. So away he's running. Now, I think Meghna, you were 9 years old when you wrote? 8 years? तो शुरू से कंजूस थे कि मतलब?
नहीं, एक्चुअली कंजूस तो बिल्कुल भी नहीं थे. आई थिंक मम्मी से उस वक्त बात हुई होगी, इनकी डांट पड़ी होगी कि देखो आप बिगाड़ रहे हो. तो उस दिन आई थिंक फॉर अ चेंज उन्होंने फैसला किया कि नहीं, मैं इसको इसकी कोई बात एक बार तो मना कर दूं. आई थिंक ये उसका नतीजा है.
मैं बच्चा बिगाड़ूंगा जो नो ऑलवेज एंड आज भी यही है. अब मैं इनको जो बिगाड़ सकता था वो बिगाड़ लिया था. अब मैं इनके बच्चे को बिगाड़ सकता हूँ.
अब मुझसे डांट पड़ती है.
So, in your own words, I would like to hear, I know I'm protected.
Which is what I wanted to say. No, I know it. I know. So, yeah, this kind of surmises what I feel for him and what I actually felt after I finished putting this manuscript together 14 years ago. And I really, I'm thankful to HarperCollins, to all of you, and to Shantanu for his patience with me while I was making Razi and putting this book together. It opened with this poem. This is the only poem of mine which will ever be published. I'm a very private person. I don't publish my poetry, but this one needed to be out there. And it goes like this. I know I'm protected because his arms cradle me. I know I'll walk the right path. His little finger leads me. He dabbles in celluloid, so I know I can see. I know I can write because his ink flows in me. I know I can because he believes. I know I am because he is.
Speechless. Only Meghna could say because his ink flows in me. Only she has the right to say because his ink flows in me. I am not the right one. You could say that. You are the only person in the world. How? What does that make you?
No, it's the first question I'm asked is that it must be so. It must be such a pressure, to be his daughter. Particularly also because we are in the same line of work. But for me, it has only always been a matter of pride. And I think it's so nice because that the innocence that a child has, because I was completely oblivious to his persona, his fame, his art and how good he is for a very long time of my childhood. I mean, a child becomes aware of these things only when they're 13, 14, 15 years old. By which time, you've developed an intimate and a one-on-one and a real relationship with your parent. And it's with the father that he is, not the writer, the filmmaker, the author, the poet. And from there came an immense love. Then you start realizing who he actually is and what he does, and then came that immense awe. Which is actually a very big reason he complains that I never share my scripts with him while they are a work in progress. But it's because of that awe. I don't want to constantly be thinking, what will he be thinking? Should I write it like this? How would he write it? Better है पहले खुद खत्म कर लो, फिर उनको दे दो कि मतलब पसंद आई, नहीं आई, अच्छी लगी, बुरी लगी, but at least एक बार पूरी तो करनी है.
हाँ, वैसे ये सच है कि ये मुझे अपने काम में दखल नहीं देने देती और बड़ी अच्छी बात है. जब ये लिख रही होती हैं तो मुझे झांकने भी नहीं देती, मना कर देते हैं. नहीं, मैं लिख लूँ फिर उसके बाद आपको दिखा लूँ. और अच्छी बात है, उसमें कोई दखल नहीं देना चाहता. लेकिन मुझे इस किताब में खास तौर पर जिस तरह से उन्होंने देखा तो इट्स अ रेवलेशन टू मी आल्सो कि हाउ हैव आई अपीयर्ड टू as she has grown up, and it's very, very interesting for any parents to know. क्योंकि वो पूछा नहीं जा सकता, वो हिसाब भी लगाया जा सकता, but to know it how I have been looked upon as from my children, from my child, I think it's a very beautiful thing to learn for me. और उसमें ये चीज़ मैं ये भी देखा है, और जो बात बहुत अच्छी लगी थी मुझे आपकी इस किताब में वो ये थी कि मेरा बर्ताव क्या है, मेरा सलूक क्या है, या मेरा बिहेवियर क्या है, या मैं कैसे घर वालों से बिहेव करता हूँ, या नौकरों से बिहेव करता हूँ, या एम्प्लॉयड से बिहेव करता हूँ, या बॉस के साथ बिहेव करता हूँ, या कहानी कहते हुए या नज्म लिखते हुए कैसे बिहेव करता हूँ। लेकिन ये कि कहीं वो दबाव इन पर कहीं नहीं नजर आया, और वो बहुत ही खूबसूरत बात है, इन्होंने कहीं ये नहीं देखा कि ये प्रेसिडेंट से मिले हैं या प्राइम मिनिस्टर से मिले हैं या फलाने से, और इसलिए इस किताब में कोई ऐसी तस्वीरें नहीं। इट्स ऑल अबाउट मी, माय फ्रेंड्स, माय फैमिली एंड दैट वर्ल्ड दैट आई लिव इन। उसमें वो कोई तमगे नहीं दिखाए हुए, या कि मैं इतनी आई थिंक आई मेट नंबर of presidents and respect, and many people who are known and who are bigger than me, and I met some great people. लेकिन ये कि it is not that she was impressed by that. She was only finding out what does she do, and whether she likes it or doesn't like it. That is what has come out from the book, and I'm quite happy about that part. She looked at the whole thing directly from her own perspective, from her own point of view. That's the most beautiful thing about this book, I think.
In fact, she's written about, I have a very fond memory of Gulzar, besides being a very fortunate neighbor. Every alternate Sunday, I see him on his balcony like a cowboy, actually from the west, with his legs perched up, and his favorite barber giving him a shave. He never shaves himself. So yes, she's caught that in the book, and hasn't caught him shaking hands with the President of India, and the Dada Saheb Phalke, and the Oscars, and the national awards. But yes, the barber is giving him a shave. That's incredible. There are some lovely anecdotes, there's some lovely observations. I think there is a person, there is Gulzar, and then there is a Gulzar, the person behind the person. And what I think Meghna you achieved so beautifully is, and pardon my saying so, she's found the piyaz wala Gulzar. खोलते जाओ खुलते ही जाता है. The layers are not ending on it. So it's incredible, because normally we say कि बरगद के नीचे कुछ बड़ा नहीं होता, बरगद की छांव. But and history tells us that you see the greatest of the personalities, and somehow their children don't blossom the way. But here we have something so unique, because you are not only taking the baton, but you're going somewhere else altogether with your own expression in cinema, which is very different from his. This is totally different, your storytelling. So, how did he nurture, and how did you nurture the individuals?
I think what Udyan said, it didn't strike me, because only when you mentioned it back to back did it occur to me that I have said that I am because he is, and he has said that I am his mirror. It's been such a symbiotic relationship. It's not one of a parent and a child. It is completely symbiotic. We grow from each other, we feed off each other. Raising me, he's exposed me to every form of creative pursuit. Exposed, मतलब he threw me in there. कि painting भी कर लो, कथक भी सीख लो, ballet भी कर लो, karate भी कर लो, music भी कर लो, piano भी कर लो, तबला भी बजा लो, सितार भी बजा लो. Never force कि नहीं पूरा करना है. शुरू कर लो. Then you decide. Because he always believed that there should never be a moment where I want to do something, but I'm afraid that I may not be able to do it. He's been wanting me to write forever. I mean, ever since I was, I think, 12 or 13. He's been telling me, you should write, you write well, you should write. Give me 50 poems, I'll get them published. I don't want it to look like a pamphlet, so give me 50 poems and I'll get them published. I remember the first poem of mine which got published, Bhavna Sumaya ma'am got it published. My first poem, I think I was all of 11, I think. And he was so proud. It's a completely different matter that it was a crappy poem. I mean, I was 11 years old. But somehow writing has, I think my writing has fulfilled him.
It's true.
You know?
It's true.
I've grown with that, and for the longest time I felt like, you know, I'm sorry, but writing for me is a very private exercise. I write when I'm exposing my soul. I can't open that up for publication. I can make a film, I can write about other people, but I can't write and expose myself. So that's where I mean, the thing is that I think the exposure that he's given to the creative pursuits, all
एक बात
kinds.
और कहूँ कि आपने मुझे 2 तस्वीरें दी हैं राकेश ने, और उसी के बारे में इन्होंने जवाब दिया है. एक तो ये कि बरगद की तरह, शुक्र है कि मैं बरगद नहीं, और न ही उस तरह की छाँव थी कि किसी कोई ये कि मैं जो बड़ा हो रहा है उससे वो रुक जाएगा मेरी वजह से. बरगद की छाँव में कभी भी नहीं था, लेकिन हाँ कीकर की तरह तेज भी था और चद्दर की तरह छाँव जरूर थी मेरी, और बादल की छाँव की तरह भी देता रहा और गुजरता रहा, बरसाता रहा. ये सब कुछ किया क्योंकि उसमें मूवमेंट थी, वो एक जगह वो बरगद नहीं था, मैं चलता रहा. और उस दौरान में ये जरूर था कि हाँ, कल तुम्हें पेंटिंग का शौक हो जाए तो इट्स नॉट ड्यू टू यू. पियानो पे बड़ा अच्छा पियानो गाती हैं, बजा लेती हैं, और उस पर बैठना पड़े तो वो खौफ, वो भय नहीं होगा कि मैं जानती नहीं सारे गानों को कहाँ से शुरू करना है. मतलब आपको बेसिक्स पता है, वो सारा करता हुआ. और जो कुछ मेरे बस में या मेरी नज़र में आया जो मैं नहीं कर सकता, जैसे बैले, she participated in it, learned it to a certain extent. अब मैं एक ही चीज़ है कि नाच नहीं सकता, किसी की उंगलियों पे नाचूं वो अलग बात है, लेकिन नाच नहीं सकता हूँ. लेकिन I could see that grace, ठीक है, अगर कल आपका मन बने तो किसी तरफ खींचने की कोशिश नहीं की. तसल्ली लिखने से इस वजह से हुई बिकॉज मैं और कुछ नहीं जानता था. वो एक आर्ट है थोड़ा मोड़ा छोटा मोटा जो मैं जानता हूँ, और उससे बड़ी तसल्ली हुई दैट शी हैज हर ओन एक्सप्रेशन. उसमें कोई दबाव नहीं है, कोई ये नहीं कि ये बनने की कोशिश की या पापा की तरह लिखने की कोशिश की या उसको पढ़ा तो उस तरह. मुझे याद है एक जगह शायद जिक्र हो किताब में आपने किया हो, ये लिंकिंग रोड पे एक दुकान हुआ करती थी किताबों की. वहाँ वो एक उनका नाम जावेद साहब भी था, हादी से पर उनसे लोग थे. और हालांकि हमारे जावेद साहब जो वो भी हल्के तो नहीं है इतने, लेकिन वो भी कोई जरा सा वजन वाले लोग थे. और तो उसने जाहिर है मुझे किताबें दिखाया करता था ये, और इन्हें ले जाया करता था खास दुकान पे जाके, किताबों की दुकान पे, फाइंड योर ओन बुक. मतलब मैं नहीं बताने वाला, ढूंढो ना जो मर्जी जियो जी चाहे ले लो. तो I remember that gentleman had come to me and was Gulzar साहब, ये इसकी उम्र कितनी है इस लड़की की? तो मेरा ख्याल वही 7-8 की उम्र होगी, सो गए होंगे। स्कूल में आवाबाई पैकेट में रही थी। पहले इतने से उम्र के बच्चे को सुना है, मुझे ऑथर के नाम से किताब पूछ रही है। एक नाम हैंस क्रिश्चियन एंडरसन की कोई कहानियां स्टोरीज हैं आपके पास? ऑथर के नाम से पूछते हुए मैंने किसी बच्चे को इस तरह नहीं। हाँ, वो भी हैंस क्रिश्चियन एंडरसन, but she grew up that way of her own and independently, and that's why she is what she is.
Because he is.
So, yeah. And let's, you very simply, let's for all of us, and I'm sure we'll all have a copy soon, but let's find a little more about him through your book. So when Papi was, call him Papi. Yeah. So when Papi,
Not the papi as in sinner.
how do you pronounce it?
हिंदी में नहीं,
Papi.
हिंदी में नहीं, अंग्रेजी में पापी सुनिए।
पापी।
हाँ, हिंदी में ना ले लीजिएगा।
So when Papi was introduced to Bimal Roy, his first question to Devu Singh, who introduced Gulzar Bhai to Bimal Da, with Papi standing right there, was Patralo Haisna Kopita ki korbe bujbe.
ভদ্রলোক বৈষ্ণব কবিতা কি করে বুঝবে?
Sorry, Boli.
Which means in Bengali he asked, how will this gentleman understand Vaishnav poetry? Because he was introduced as Gulzar, Bimal Roy thought he's a Muslim and was wondering, because the song needed to be for Bandhani and he wanted a song based on Vaishnav poetry, and he asked Devu Sen, who introduced him to Bimal Roy, how is he going to understand this? To which then Papa explained that not only do I understand Bengali, but I also read it. You weren't writing it then. I think you learned to write it to write letters to mommy.
वो प्रेम पत्र लिख के बंगला सीखी है।
And she learned Urdu to write letters to him. Yeah. So so that's how it happened.
Absolutely. And so, such an important chapter of the life, such a Bimal Da. We would like to hear from you.
मुझसे कुछ मैं बहुत दफा कह चुका हूँ।
नहीं,
मैं मुख्य से बात दफा कह चुका हूँ। ये बारी आज के ऑथर की है, मुसन्निफ की है, लेखक की है। आप उनसे पूछे जो पूछना है। मैं तो गवाही देने के लिए।
So, like you were saying earlier, and the book beautifully captures his first step into the world of films, and through the house of Bimal Da, nobody else but Bimal Da, and he is, for all of us, has been such a link to such great masters, and himself being the greatest of, and we are absolutely so fortunate to, but today is not the evening to discuss that. What was your feeling when you speak about Bimal Da? What is your perspective? Forget about the, it's not an informative question, it's a feeling kind of a thing.
Well, in my conversations with him, everybody knows that he was working in a garage, and what everybody doesn't know is that he was not working as a mechanic. He used to do spot touch-up jobs for cars which had met with minor accidents, so एक scratch हो गया या dent हो गया, painter थे. Or it was not that the full car needed painting, it was a spot job. So you had to blend colors to match the existing color of the car. And and that's what he used to do, which is when he was taken to meet Vimalda. My conversations with him, what I came away from was that Vimalda for him stepped in as a father figure that he lacked. Because he was, there was a distance between him and his father for whatever the circumstances were. And I think, and his mother, he didn't have his mother from a very young age. And I think Vimalda filled that void for him. To the point where it's ironic that he was brought in to write just one song. Because Shailendra and him had a fight. So he said he's not going to write the songs. And then he wrote one song and then they made up. And
most of the people know about it.
And they made up. So then Shailendra went back to writing the rest of the songs. But if it was not for the righteousness of Vimalda, that no, this man has talent and that motor garage is not where he's supposed to be. And he said, that is not the place for you. You come here and be with me. And Papa didn't want to be influenced. And particularly in direction, because he felt that writing songs for a film was a very fragmented part of the process. Music is somebody else's, story is written by somebody else, someone else is going to sing it, somebody else is going to enact and perform it. The writer's role is a very tiny fragment, the lyricist's role. So he was never very impressed by even getting that opportunity. But I think the fact that he agreed to Vimalda and joined him was because there was that sense of a father figure.
That's very true. That's very true. Because I have written about it. कि मैं फिल्मों में नहीं आना चाहता था, Vimalda also knew this. लेकिन the way and the day Vimalda said कि look, you can't join Mehra as an assistant. It's a director's medium, you will feel okay. I know you don't want to write songs, you don't want to become a lyricist, but you will not go back to that garage and waste your life there. Come here and start working. Now this authority of a father, that made me cry. I busted out crying. And I've said it every time that I busted out, crying on his table. That he touched me. And he turned the page of my fate. I earned my fame, I earned my money, I earned my living, and everything came down to finally from films. Films gave me so much to live. And that was a turning point of my life. And I will always remain grateful to Vimalda for having done this to me. And of course, the passion of books never left me. That is why I didn't want to go to films. I wanted to write books. But that had a different fascination in my head. कि writer बड़ी अच्छी चीज होती है. People quote writers. You know, किताब में लिखा है, तुम पढ़ के देखो, ये कोई नहीं कहता. फिल्मों में देखा है, फिल्म देख के देखो, ये कोई नहीं कहता. वो किताब ही के लिए कहता है. So I wanted to be a writer. I wanted to write books. And that, after completing that circle, I've come back to books, of course. And once again, and I'm happy that she is writing books. She's also writing books, also along with the film. I don't want you to leave films because you have found a new way. And this whole generation, even films like what you are doing, which is coming, this Mere Pyare Prime Minister, it's a writing on a satellite. It's writing a book. We had to, I always say this, okay, we picked up subjects from literature. We picked up good stories from subject and made films, and made good films. But who's the author? Whose thought? Devdas, 5 people have made, 10 people have made. It is Shat Chandra finally. It is the Shat Chandra which is the sky, the rest are floating clouds. Some, कुछ अच्छी तरह बरसे, कुछ अच्छी तरह नहीं बरसे. But It is the author. Who is the author of that film? Now the period has started where the filmmaker is the author of this film. He has the thought, he or she, that you want to say this and you have said it. It is that picking up what you, thoughts come from life around you and it connects you from books also, short stories also, everything. But you make it your own. Then you give your own interpretation, not follow that. Then you are making an interpretation of your own. No, it's not like this, it's like that. That is what gives you the status of an author in cinema. And today's generation is doing that. That's the most beautiful part of it. And another thing which I would like to say about this book is from my point of view. Author has given her own point of view. From my point of view, it's a biography in the real sense of it. It is not it's not about the achievements ke uske baad this became a hit, and then that became a hit, and then he met such and such artist and such star. No, it's the journey, how you got there and how you moved it and what you did. It's my observation of the person that she's writing about, and it's not about the collections of the trade or the other kind of thing. I don't know if I've been clearly able to put it. अंग्रेजी में बोलना था, हो सकता है बात साफ ना करिए, लेकिन ऐसा कुछ है
नहीं। मेरा पहला रिएक्शन यही था बॉस्की को, सॉरी मैं मेघना को नहीं जानता। पहली बार जब आया था तो एक मतलब वो आपा Ali is incredible. जब भी मैं कुछ पूछता हूँ तो तुम पोएट से पूछो ना जरा, वो पोएट ही बताएंगे तुम्हें।
फिल्म इनकी गाने में लिख रहा हूँ, लंच वो खिलाती हैं लाके स्टूडियो में, और क्या, what else? And she is right when she writes like this.
सर कई बार बॉस की जलती है मेरे से, उसको जेलसी होती है कि आप मेरे लिए गाने, तुम कैसे ये गाने लिख पाते। मैं बोलता हूँ क्योंकि फिश करी राखी जी के यहाँ से मैं बोलता हूँ कि रिकॉर्डिंग नहीं होगी जब तक फिश वहाँ से नहीं आएगी, तो जब फिश आती है तो गाने भी हो जाते हैं।
तो 14 गाने बिना कंप्लेनिंग लिख देते हैं उनके लिए। मैं एक एक गाने के लिए पापा दे दो, एक गाना दे दो।
नहीं, पर ऐसा भी नहीं मैंने मुहैया नहीं किया हो, लेकिन इनकी अपनी डेफिनेशन है, अब उस पर पूरा उतरना भी जरूरी है। और एक बार नहीं, दो बार, तीन बार लिखवाती हैं, 4 बार लिखवाती हैं, लिखी ये भी नहीं, बिकॉज दैट्स वेयर शी इज द डायरेक्टर एंड आई एम द लिरिसिस्ट, देयर इज नो फादर डॉटर देयर। बहुत सीधी सी बात है, उन्होंने 4 गाने मेरे विशाल के रिजेक्ट किए हैं और उसके बावजूद लिखे हैं। और बाकी ये होती है कि 4 गाने, चौथे गाने की जगह थी राजी में, इनकी फिल्म पे आ गए अगर चौथे गाने की जगह थी, और मैंने कहा नहीं मुझे पहले वाले गाना है, इनमें क्लाइमेक्स पे वही रिपीट कर दो। कहीं मैं भी यही सोच रही थी, पर मैं लिखवाना चाहती थी एक और आपसे। मैं जब आप सोच रही थी तो मुझसे लिखवाना क्यों चाहती है, इम्तिहान देना है तो क्या जरूरत है। तो घबराते इसलिए थे कि यार फिर गुजरना पड़ेगा उसी गली से। आपके साथ दोस्ताना कुछ और तरह से है, फिर आप बच्चों की तरह भी हैं, बेटों की तरह भी हैं, लेकिन आप दोस्त भी हैं, और आपके साथ कुछ चाल अलग है। और ये
They have conversations. It's like they'll sit for 3 hours and have a
सीन
conversation.
लेकर आए मेरे पास, सीन सुनाया, यहाँ क्या ख्याल है अगर इसके गाना हो जाए यहाँ पे, तो मैं कहा इसमें तो गाने की सिचुएशन नहीं, लेकिन इसमें से ये लाइन बड़ी खूबसूरत है, कहीं कैसे मैं उसको, मैं इस बंदिश को ऐसे लगा के दूसरी लाइन देखो, लेकिन मैं तो गाना बना रहा हूँ, बाकी सीन में देख लूँगा, आप ये गाना बना दीजिए और बनते चलेगा इनके साथ गाने. तो that's a different process of filmmaking. Each one makes a film in its own style, in its own way. विशाल के साथ जब तक ज़बाने फुटपाथिया ना आए उसको तसल्ली नहीं होती है ना. वो कुछ फुटपाथिया ज़बान के शौकीन हैं और शायरी समझता है वो लोग. विशाल शायरी बहुत अच्छी समझते हैं, आपको क्या है, लेकिन वो फिर अब उनके अंदाज की फिल्म. लेकिन let's come back to the book.
I'm going to ask a difficult question.
जी,
So, parenting is tough.
आगे.
Parenting is tough. And you've had an illustrious life, a busy life, a creative life. So you grew up as a child. You don't want to be a shadow, but it is a shadow. A parent is a shadow, great or not. So there could have been moments when you missed that love. Like even as an adult, you wish your films got the attention that somebody else films did. And there have been moments in your life when you sought that love for your creative freedom. And we don't know the exact moment when you chose to be in the same creative space as your dad. Did he exercise authority? And what made you choose that you would go ahead at the cost of anything else in the same creative space that your dad had been? And did you miss the love that you just mentioned?
I'm sure there have been moments because when I was young, when I was growing up, I mean, he would have 2 releases a year sometimes. So I know he was very busy. But I know that I have not grown up with a sense of void. I don't have that sense of vacuum that he was not around. I think whenever he was shooting outdoors, I would probably go with him. And whenever he was in Bombay and he was not shooting, if it was a normal work day, he would end it at 4 at the time my school ended. So that he was always there. In fact, my teachers used to, they would come to see us off at the gate and Papa would be standing with the car and I would go and I would hug him. And so I remember this incident very clearly. The teacher asked me, she said, you seeing him after how long? So I said, no, I see him every day. I saw him yesterday. So she said, you hug him every day when you come out of school? I said, yes, I do. That's just how it was. I would come out of school and I would hug him.
कार अंदर जाना मना था.
So they would be waiting outside.
I had to wait outside.
Yeah. So I would come out of the gate and I would hug him. To answer your second question, he has been authoritative. But he's done it so cleverly that he has made it look like every decision I wanted to take it. Really. There has been he's been a very silent support. The choice of becoming a filmmaker was entirely my own. I always knew I wanted to do something creative. Visual expression, I feel, is the highest form of creativity because it involves so many other arts in it. Also, I think I was really lazy. I didn't want to study too much and go into like really specialized courses and things like that. So filmmaking, yes. But the good thing about him as a parent is that there was always suggestion, never instruction. And there's a very fine balance between the two. It's a lesson I need to learn because even I don't follow it. I'm not raising Samya the way he raised me. But there's a balance between instruction and suggestion.
Oh, no, it's incredible. And what I get from when I read and what I've experienced is